Today's video is brought to you by ablmerch.com. We've got hats, t-shirts, stickers, mugs, and more through the link in the description box below. How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about the viral video of the mother out there in Loudoun County, Virginia, destroying the idea of critical race theory being taught to her children in the school system out there. Now, before I get to the clip, which I do have, of course, I need to back up a little bit here and explain to you what critical race theory, aka CRT, is briefly. Now, critical race theory is this big brain idea by some in academia, some lawyers that say, hey, you know what? The civil rights movement, that was a great start, MLK. You get an E for effort, but guess what? We are still in a very racist society, and every institution is bad, and we have to fix it. I'm talking about from the White House to the schoolhouse to the jailhouse to your house. And what this ultimately winds up becoming is kids, little kids especially, being taught that the white man is so omnipotent, powerful, undefeatable, supreme, oppressive, rude, nasty, and how the colored man, person of color, whatever you want to say, is a helpless victim that can't do anything for themselves because the white man did it. He's the reason. He's oppressing them. He defeated them. It makes whites come off like superior and blacks come off as inferior. And I reject both of those notions. Now, before I go any further, let's roll the clip. In this clip, you'll hear what the mother said in full. After we get done watching that, I'll talk about what she said. I'll give you some more about critical race theory. Then I give you the rest of my 2 cents, my deep, detailed analysis. And then I'll wrap it on up with a nice bow on top. So without further ado, let's go ahead and roll it.
In the words of Martin Luther King Jr., I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. Now I have a dream that we will implement love, not hate, or supporting another Jim Crow's agenda. CRT is not an honest dialogue. It is a tactic that was used by Hitler and the Ku Klux Klan on slavery very many years ago to dumb down my ancestors, so we could not think for ourselves. CRT is racist. It is abusive. It discriminates against one's color. Let me educate you. An honest dialogue does not oppress. An honest dialogue does not implement hatred or injustice. It's to communicate without deceiving people. Today, we don't need your agreement. We want action and a backbone for what we asked for today, to ban CRT. We don't want your political advertisement to divide our children or belittle them. Think twice before you indoctrinate such racist theories. You cannot tell me what is or is not racist. Look at me. I had to come down here today to tell you to your face that we are coming together and we are strong. This will not be the last. Greet and meet respectfully.
All right, so you saw that, you heard that. Now, bravo. Hey, hats off to you. That was great. You're going to have a really hard time trying to defeat that. If you're thinking in the real way, you're going to have a hard time trying to dismantle the general point she was making about critical race theory not being a good thing, especially not to teach children. Now, she did a follow-up interview on the Daily Wire. It wasn't a video. It was just, she spoke to them and then they reported on what she wrote. I'll link to the interview in the box so you can read it for yourself. But she was saying that she has mixed kids, so her kids are confused. All right, my mom is black, my dad is white. When I go to school, they talk about how superior the white man is and how inferior the black man is. So what am I since I'm both? Am I inferior or am I superior? Am I black because of the one drop rule, which was a Jim Crow rule, by the way, to enforce things like segregation, anti-miscegenation? I mean, you can't get married to somebody that's black or white, but different story. I digress. The point is, they're confused. Who am I when I'm being taught in school about black this, black that, white this, white that, colored person? Like, who am I for real? It's confusing. And then beyond that, it's racist. Like, we're going backwards. We had a civil rights movement to get away from segregation, to everything being based upon your race. And all, you're this color, you're that color, you got to fit into this box and that box. That was the whole point behind civil rights. See, those that think that civil rights didn't go far enough missed the whole point of civil rights. Okay, they're trying to find racism in places where it doesn't exist. And since they're trying to do that, and that's their whole mission in the job, they're creating racism when there was none before. All right. And you know what? Some may just say, oh, that's a conspiracy theory, ABL. You know, it's not really a big deal. It's Fox News propaganda. Is it really? Because critical race theory affects you in ways you don't even really know. You know, I've done stories about how they're changing, they're lowering standards in school, K through 12. Oh, we're eliminating the advanced math classes. Why are you doing that? Some kids need advanced math. Who's going to be the engineers? Who's going to be the chemists and people like that need high math? Who's going to do that? I mean, you don't want to be 18 years old for the first time being introduced into high math. If you want to, have a high math career, you want to have that education as early as possible. Middle school, even high school, definitely. So if they're eliminating that, the question is why? It's because Black and Hispanic students do poorly at that. So you're eliminating the higher classes for kids that need them to bring everybody closer to the bottom. That is critical race theory in a nutshell, right? That's just what it is. And you know what? There's a chart that I can kind of bring up. And I've done this before. You may have kind of missed it. It was a crazy chart that came from the Smithsonian. But this kind of chart, if it's being produced by the government, you got to ask yourself, all right, now, what else is the government producing? What other policies is a government trying to enact that's based on critical race theory? Let's check it out right here. This particular chart has been removed, but the original article about quote unquote whiteness is still there. Now, here's a piece you need to kind of see right here. It says white dominant culture or whiteness refers to the ways white people and their traditions, attitudes, and ways of life have been normalized over time and are now considered standard practices in the United States. And since white people still hold most of the institutional power in America, we have all internalized some aspects of white culture, including people of color. Remember I said color, people of color, same thing? So things like, rugged individualism, having a family with a mom and dad, clear and rational thinking, working hard, being a Christian, also being heterosexual. They try to link sexuality into it as well, critical race theory. These things are white. And again, remember I said from the beginning, they try to villainize white people. And since they can villainize white people, they link certain things to quote unquote whiteness, and then they villainize that as well. That's the whole point. Okay, time, being on time, that's somehow white. So if you are not on time, that's considered to be normal, right? That's kind of what that is. Holidays, justice, again, like I said, from the White House to the jailhouse to the schoolhouse to your house. Competing, trying to, get a competitive edge, trying to become the best of what you do. That goes back to capitalism as well, because that's kind of what capitalism is. You're competing for, for monies, for resources. That's what it is. All right. Communication, speaking proper English. So these things they say are bad and wrong and somehow evil because the white man, he's bad, he's wrong, he's evil, and he does these things. That's why it's bad. And again, this is being taught to kids, little kids, K through 12 in college. And that goes for public, private, charter, everything. I saw a story of this guy in New York paying $50,000 a year, 50,000 a year to send his child to a private school, and she's being taught critical race theory. This is all bad. It's not good. It just reinforces racism. And then to some people, they might not even have any kind of experience with racism. So they're being taught racism for the very first time. People talking about, raise your kids right, raise them to not be racist. But then when they go to school and they see stuff like this, it's like, what are you going to do? So, hey, my hat's off to the mother out there in Loudoun County, which unfortunately is like the DC suburbs. So that's why you have critical race theory out there. But shout out to her for standing up for what's right. And not just her, but a bunch of other parents, black, white, everyone. Everybody at a certain point should realize that critical race theory is not a good thing at all. And I want to see more moments like that. People stand up and say, you know what? No more. No more. Okay, become the school board, go to the school meetings, get into positions of power to change stuff like this. So this won't be the reality for your child or for you in the regular work. 'Cause like I said, a lot of things in government are now being based on critical race theory. Okay, a lot of things Biden is talking about are being based on critical race theory. Okay, talking about, oh, getting blacks vaccination first, and you go to college, it's a black graduation, white graduation. We don't want this thing to creep, this ideology to creep into our everyday lives as regular normies out here in America. But I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? How do you feel about critical race theory? Is it a needed thing? Do we need to have that in America, or should we get rid of it? Is it racist? Is it hateful, evil? Whatever your thoughts on that are, let me know in the comments below. You guys pretty much know where I stand. I am against critical race theory 1000%, and no one can convince me that I'm wrong. Okay, I'm confident in that. Normally, I never say never, but this one time I'll say never, because I thought we're trying to get away from racism. I thought that was the plan. I thought that was the goal, to eliminate racism, to get beyond racism. How are you going to conquer racism with racism? How are you going to sit there and say that everything in America is racist and then try to attack it with racism? How are you going to demonize a white man and infantilize a black man and say that's somehow progression? It makes no sense at all. Critical race theory is not what you want in your life at all. Even to the so-called progressives out there, you may think that you want this right now, but then when you see it in action, when you see it happen to you in a negative way, you regret your decision. But whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.